Hi everybody, welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. So we are doing something a little bit different this week. So I am going to be talking with the incredible Georgia Harwood, and we are going to be talking about yoga. We're going to be talking about the power of yoga, why you need it in your life, and why it can be an amazing part of your exercise routine, not only just for your physical well-being, but also for your mental well-being as well. So Georgia, kick things off. What's your background? A little bit of an introduction for yourself.
So my background, I originally went to drama school and did sort of musical theatre, and a large portion of that was dance. So I've always been very active and kind of came from that sort of performing background. Um, yeah, I did. I kind of was always doing things. I was rubbish at PE, like the sporty stuff wasn't really my vibe. But I used to sort of figure skate as a kid, and I've always been active.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been very physically into doing stuff. And then along with that comes just loads of injuries, doesn't it? So, so I
Yeah,
was
I know
injured all
exactly
the
what you
time.
mean.
Yeah, then that was kind of how I found yoga through injury.
Oh, that's mad, because I know you were talking about it before, and I know you were doing, correct me if I'm wrong, stuff with like Disney and kind of all
Yeah.
over the place. And I know when you've spoken about it, it's just mad, like the amount of stuff you've done. I think, was it one specific injury that kind of almost pushed you into yoga? Or was it just that accumulation over time where you felt like something was missing?
It was one specific injury. I had a neck. I did something to my neck. I actually don't even know what happened to it. It just kind of appeared, and I spent about a solid year of doing sort of going to acupuncture, cupping, physio, like osteo, chiropractor. Like I saw everyone I could find, and nothing was working. And a physio recommended trying some hot yoga, just because obviously yoga is great for getting mobility and sort of the neck and everything anyway, but with the added element of the heat in the room, she was like, you might find it's just the thing that works, because so far nothing is working. And yeah, I bought a 2-week membership to the studio near my house in London, and it was really expensive. So I was like, well, I'm going to go every day to make the most out of this because I'm not wasting my money. Um, and and yeah, and then after 2 weeks, my injury literally went, and I was like, this is magic. It's actually magic.
Mad. That is mad. And just on a side note of that, that's something that we always try and encourage in our clinics as well, is the fact that it has to be, right for you. And I know that's something that we'll touch on in a bit, of why you're so passionate about, yoga for all different abilities and different conditions, because it has to be, everybody's unique. It has to be very much kind of specific to that person. And like you said, tried the other stuff. And then this was the thing, that light bulb moment where you were like, oh God, it's so much better. So I absolutely love that. And then what made you go from almost being like a yogi, like obsessed, doing all the classes? What made you want to become a teacher? Like, where did that kind of cross over?
I guess I was sort of, well, at the time I was living in London still, and I was um, very much still performing and auditioning and kind of in that world, whilst I was just really involved in my yoga practice. And I kind of, um, they always say when you perform, you should be a performer as long as you love it. And when you stop loving it, that's kind of, your time's up. And I found that I slowly stopped going to dance classes and was just going to more and more yoga classes, and kind of transitioned to the point where I wasn't dancing at all and I was just doing yoga
Yeah.
constantly. And and I had all these friends, these performer friends, who were full of stress and anxiety from the industry, because it gives you a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I was just constantly, when people were talking to me about things that had happened to them, I was like, yoga, you need yoga. It's fixed my life. You need it too. And I was like, right, I just need to be a teacher because it's all I talk about. This is ridiculous. And I think when you do your teacher training, a lot of people do it just for themselves anyway. You don't necessarily do your training to um, specifically because you just want to teach classes. A lot of people do it to further their own practice, to further their understanding of their body, of sort of the history of yoga. So I did a lot of it just for me anyway, but then I loved it so much that it was kind of, I just wanted to teach it.
Sense. See, I love that though, and I think also you can just tell when you're talking about it, like your passion for it. Like you could just see it. And I know when we speak about it now, it's like you can just tell that you absolutely love it. And it's like with anything, you know, if you're massively invested in it and you've seen the benefits, you're the person, you're perfect person to talk to about yoga, because obviously you just know what it's about. So in terms of kind of day to day, because obviously I know before the pandemic, obviously you were doing a lot of classes in person. Now we've moved to kind of more virtual. From a point of view of the kind of the questions that I've been asked from patients, and obviously the questions I get asked in clinic, what's the kind of ideal person in your opinion that could benefit from yoga?
Absolutely anyone. Anyone is the answer. Um, you get people in class who kind of, you know, are in their mid 60s and they can't touch their toes and they've never done yoga in their life. And then next to them is someone who is, you know, Miss Bendy Wendy doing a backflip. And it's for everybody. It honestly is. And it doesn't matter who you're next to or, you know, what the people around you can do or can't do. It's purely an individual practice. And a lot of people always say is, oh, I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible. That is the main one you hear all the time. And it's just not true because, you know, if you don't start, you'll never be flexible. And also being flexible isn't what it's about. It's kind of a byproduct of lots and lots of practicing. You get more flexible, but that's not what the practice is specifically about. And I would just say to anyone just to give it a go because there's ways of modifying anything. All of the poses have different levels that you can take it to. And we also use a lot of props in yoga, blocks. I don't know if I've got one, not to hand, but I'll show you.
That would be amazing, but this is what I have earlier.
Props. And you use straps and you use lots of different things to help you get access into the postures. And just because you're using a prop doesn't mean your practice is less than somebody else who doesn't need them. It's all just about recognizing where you are in that moment, staying with your breath, staying with your body, staying in the practice, really giving your body that respect of just being where you are and not trying to push yourself to do something that you can't do yet. And I think that's the perfect yogi, just somebody who
Willing to learn.
really accepting of where they are and moves from that point.
Oh, I love that. And also I just know from like the people that I see in clinic, like a lot of people are feeling like that, particularly when we come into winter, you know, all really quite stiff, quite cold. And I know just from really, you know, really normal, just from the elevated stress levels at the moment, I know one of the stuff that you've spoken about before, you know, it has a very calming effect, a very grounding effect. And again, not a lot of people know this, but you do a lot of kind of meditation as well. So it's definitely kind of bringing the mind and the body together to kind of, you know, have that 360, that full body health and well-being. So absolutely love that. And is there any advice that you would say kind of for people who are completely agreeing with what you're saying and they're thinking, right, this is me, I want to start? Is there any advice that you would give them in terms of kind of the best class to do, or, you know, how much to do in a week? Or do you see what I mean? Like just so they can start to kind of move forward with that yoga practice.
Yeah, of course. So I guess it depends in terms of how much to do. It depends on you because if you're maybe coming from a place where you've got an injury, I would say to take it slow. But then again, I came from having an injury and I did it every day and it made me feel better. So I think, you know, you've just got to take it class at a time. And if you feel great, then yeah, brilliant, go again, try it the next day. And if 2 days in a row doesn't feel great for you, then give it more space in between. It's just about, in terms of how much to do, it's just purely up to you and how your body deals with it. If you're brand new to yoga and you really have no idea what any of the poses are, which is fine, we all start somewhere, then I would say find some beginners classes or vinyasa flow classes tend to be a little bit faster and they tend to move through things quite quickly. Now, if you're someone that does lots of other movement anyway and you understand kind of how the body's working and you tend to learn things pick things up well, then that class would probably be fine, because if there's things you don't know, you know, you can have a little peek around, see what everybody else is doing, and so copy them a bit. That's what I did. You
Yeah.
know, what are they doing? Or, you know, your teacher will always guide you through and tell you what's happening. If you're really not sure at all, then start with some much slower classes. Yin is a beautiful practice. It's not much flowing at all. It's quite static almost. You hold the postures for a couple of minutes. It's all seated pretty much. It really helps you get into the muscles, get into the fascia. So it's a much slower practice. It's very relaxing, very calming. But yeah, quite often most studios and most teachers offer some kind of beginner's practice, or if you've got a teacher that you have in mind, or a place you have in mind you want to go, then send them an email or send them a message, and they will be able to tell you which of their classes on their timetable is perfect for a beginner.
Oh, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much. This is literally all the questions I get asked all the time. So this is perfect. And like I said, everybody, you know, for Wednesday Wisdom, it's a platform that we use to kind of share knowledge, but also introduce people like Georgia who are so inspired in what they're doing and their practice and wanting to help people. So what I will do as well, because I know, like we said, not really doing stuff in person. Obviously, the rules are changing all the time, but you are doing virtual classes, aren't you, currently?
Yeah.
So what I would do, if people obviously love Georgia, which I know they do, and obviously feel that they want to try it or get inspired by her, obviously one-to-one virtually at the moment, what I would do is I will attach a link to her virtual classes, or you know, a contact details that they can have for you. And anybody wanting to give yoga a go, just do it, you know, give it a go, see how you get on, and just enjoy it. But no, thank you so much, and we will speak soon. Thank you so much for today.
Yeah.
Bye.